It is day 16 without a Speaker of the House, and the Republican conference still cannot agree on a candidate to fill the leadership vacuum. Tonight, after yet another day trying to wrangle votes on Capitol Hill, Congressman Jim Jordan of Ohio is no closer to the 217 votes he needs to win the gavel. On Tuesday, as you may recall, in the first round of voting, Jordan received 200 votes, 12 fewer than Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Yesterday, he tried again and suffered a net loss, winning the support of just 199 Republicans. Then, for a brief period of time today, it looked like Republicans, including Jordan, were ready to move forward with a compromise plan. It would temporarily empower that man, that is Speaker Pro Tem Patrick McHenry of North Carolina. That deal, though, apparently fell apart. Jordan went right back to work, lobbying support for a third vote. We thought there might be a vote. He met with all 22 Republican holdouts. And according to Jake Sherman of Punchbowl News, ready for this? Every single one told him they would not back him for Speaker. Ali Vitale is a Capitol Hill correspondent for NBC News. David Jolly, a former Republican congressman of Florida, and they join me now. All right, Ali, you were there today, and you've been covering this. I feel like this thing happens where it's like a cliffhanger every 24 hours, and then a lot happens, but in the end, we end up in the same place. So, how did today unfold?
Oh, you feel that too, Chris?
Yes,
I love
exactly.
doing the same live shot for you, but 48 hours later. So that's awesome. I will say it does feel like we just kind of are on this merry-go-round where Republicans keep thinking that they're going to get close to doing something and then it all seems to fall apart. I think the stunning thing about what we saw from Jim Jordan tonight was the fact that initially, you're right, there was a point today where we thought there was going to be something bipartisan done to empower Speaker Pro Tem McHenry. That ultimately fell apart. And after that, Jordan went to meet with the 22 people who are current holdouts for him. Now, the explanations of that meeting start to fall apart depending on who you talk to. For Jordan, it was a chance to speak to his detractors, see if it was a chance to get them on board. For the members leaving that meeting, though, some of them told our team in the hallway that this wasn't a meeting for Jordan to try to change their minds. This was a meeting for them to try to change Jordan's mind and get him dropped out, to get him to drop out. Not a good sign if you're trying to get someone on board for your speaker bid. And it's why Jordan wanted to buy himself the time by giving McHenry powers and letting himself try to still cobble together votes.
Yeah, who is whipping who in this meeting, one might ask. David, so one thing that's happening here that I think is a really interesting dynamic and worth paying attention to. We've now seen multiple members of the House Republican Conference who've come out against Jordan reporting security concerns and death threats. Multiple members. Yeah. And they're speaking publicly and openly about this. Politico saying multiple members are detailing threats and other intimidation they face for opposing Jim Jordan's speakership bid. Ken Buck, and this is not at all in the same category, I want to be clear about that. Ken Buck said his landlord of his district offices in Colorado is booting him out because of his support of Jordan, which is that's fine. That's Democratic politics. You can do that if you want. But the death threats, which have been part and parcel of public life, particularly acutely in the Trump era, for them to be speaking openly and for them not bowing to it, but speaking about it, seems to me a little bit of a watershed moment. What do you think?
Yeah, Chris, it's very serious. I mean, one Republican member reported that their child in middle school, I believe, had to have a sheriff's escort or a sheriff's deputy assigned to the school. Another spouse said they slept with a loaded gun last night because of some of this intimidation. And so, look, some is just grassroots lone actor, right? Probably most of it is. But it is also Jim Jordan and his team unleashing the conservative influencers.
That's right.
In D.C. and also Fox News and Sean Hannity. Let's just be honest about it. But this is where I think, look, the one tool that Jordan wants is time. Ali knows this very well. He wants time to continue getting to 217. I don't think he has it. I think it's getting untenable because if none of those 22 are going to move, it's just a vanity project for Jordan. And I think he knows that. I think he asked for the vote tomorrow because he cannot go into the weekend not having moved a single vote, because then he's just taking time away from other possible speaker candidates and he's sucking the oxygen out of the conference. I think as much as Jordan is professing confidence, as much as Fox News is going to come down on people tonight, those 22 need to look over their shoulders. I think this is it for Jordan. I think tomorrow's vote should be the last, but this is somebody who acts by intimidation and brinksmanship, Jim Jordan. doesn't work.
These people haven't worked in 2 weeks. In all fairness, they take lots of recesses. Right, exactly. They took a recess in the week before that. So in all fairness, it's a little like when COVID hit and everyone got taught like you're essential or non-essential. It's like, I guess I'm not essential, actually. It's like, maybe it doesn't really matter. But it does, because we are hurtling towards a shutdown. The president obviously tonight addressing these packages. I keep wondering, Allie, what is the way out? The McHenry thing was floated, and here's my understanding. I want to tell you to tell me if I have this right. It's a little weedsy. Yeah. That Jordan and other pro-Jordan Republicans got onto the McHenry train with the thought being maybe you can do that to buy more time to whip votes. And then it fell apart because he said he was going to stay in the speaker race. And everyone in different directions didn't like that arrangement, I think is my understanding. What do you think?
My understanding was that in this very lengthy, very tense GOP conference huddle behind closed doors, the fact that Jordan was staying in the race was reason enough for a good chunk of Republican members to say that they wouldn't back a pro tem McHenry bid because they felt that one seemed to undercut the other in some way. And so initially what was meant to be a Jordan time-saving and face-saving mechanism ended up being not that at all. And I think it was really weird to, frankly, cover the rise and fall of the resolution empowering McHenry, because as we reported in the meeting, McHenry sort of said to everyone in there, hey, if you try to get me to shoot first and ask questions later, if you try to make me bring something to the floor and test the limits of my power that I don't believe I have, I'll quit. You'll figure out who the next person on Kevin McCarthy's list was, because it sure ain't going to be me. That's a threat that you don't necessarily want when you're already looking for a permanent speaker and your temporary one is like, I will turn this car around.
Such an important life lesson that credibly saying I'll quit, it gives you real leverage. I want to play what Kevin McCarthy said about the tense. There was a lot of tension in that meeting. Yeah. David, I'm going to play for you what McCarthy said about an exchange he had with Matt Gaetz. Take a listen.
I was at the mic, I was speaking, and Matt Gaetz tried to interrupt, and so I told him to sit down, and we sat down.
What's your deal?
I told him to sit down. I think the entire conference screamed at him. People are, listen, the whole country, I think, would scream at Matt Gaetz right now.
And he's right, but I wonder who's the guy who negotiated Matt Gaetz to make the motion to dismiss resolution able to be called up with one vote. Whoever did that.
McCarthy, that's right. McCarthy begged Gaetz for his vote, or at least vote present in January. He gave him the keys to the House. Look, the amount of vitriol and hatred and distrust in the Republican conference is what is driving all of this. And here's a perfect example why. The McHenry temporary solution, we always framed it as something that would need Democrats. It doesn't need Democrats. Republicans could just say, we're going to open the floor for 2 weeks under McHenry and pass a GOP agenda on the budget in Israel and ignore Ukraine. They could actually do that. They're not even unified in that. And Chris, I would say tonight, coming after the president's speech, there's also a role now, very public role, for Senator Schumer and the Senate Democrats. We don't often talk about them as a political powerhouse. They have an opportunity now to respond to President Biden's address.
Yep.
To move critical
move it forward.
Yep. Draw a contrast with House Republicans and their dysfunction.
Yeah, something coming out of the Senate. Yeah, it's interesting. Ali Vitale, David Jolly, thank you very much.